Two Guns is a movie that I wrote off entirely once I found out it was from the director of Contraband. But with two leads playing very well off each other, a script involving corruption, drugs, backstabbing that actually isn't super convoluted and kind of makes sense, Two Guns was surprisingly fun. Two Guns stars Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg as two undercover agents working for a criminal group down in Mexico. The problem is they don't know that the other's undercover. But something happens where they end up getting dropped from both their respective groups, so they decide to team up and fix the problem themselves. And it's a serious story that relies on a lot of funny back and forth banter between Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg, and most of it is genuinely funny. Like, those two carry this movie on their backs. And I like that the two leads were on even ground with each other. Like, it wasn't just Denzel Washington playing it super serious all the time with Mark Wahlberg being the goofball. And there's just something about government agents acting like 12-year-olds that's funny to me. But thankfully the whole movie isn't like that. Like, these guys are good at what they do. They can just be a little petty sometimes. Other cast members include Paula Patton, Bill Paxton, Fred Ward, James Morrison, and Edward James Olmos. And they're all fine with what they're given. And out of all the plots like this, like, I'm not saying that the movie always made sense, but I thought it worked pretty well. And like, for me, it wasn't that hard to follow the plot from point A to point B, because with movies like this, I'm always just like, this doesn't make sense, and I just stopped thinking. But I had no issue following this. If I had any issues with the movie, I would say that the jokey tone is a little overplayed at times. Like, by the third act, I would say that things got pretty serious, and I know people use humor as like a defense mechanism sometimes, but geez, these two had to cut some losses that I'd imagine would be pretty hard to get over, and yet they were still telling jokes toward the end. And then there were just some moments that just seemed a little too dumb. Like, early on, Mark Wahlberg and Denzel Washington are just arguing about leaving a tip for a waitress in a restaurant that they set on fire. And it's like, guys, you realize that she's not going to get the money no matter what you do, so what's the point of having this argument? But hey, nitpicks aside, I had fun. I'm not saying see it in theaters, but if you've got nothing better to do at some point, why not just check it out? So tell me what you thought of Two Guns in the comments section. If you like this review and you want to see more, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it.